Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the Slothz team as we're preparing ourselves for Baku, which off the top of my head I think will be a little bit tricky with the long straights, as we know, with the engine power being as excellent as it is, as well as the the cornering, which is actually much stronger on our car than some of our backmarker competitors. So for the time being, we start filling in some of the activities, and I've had a quick look through to see if we can get any simulator upgrades to help out Porsche. Decide against it in the end. Vehicle condition, as you can see, not looking the best. We're only a third of the way through the season. Well, not even a third of the way through the season yet. And things aren't looking too good, so we continue on. Get some more resource points, get some more upgrades, and we are presented with another opportunity for a Pirelli Hot Lap, which I'm not going to do on this occasion because we've already seen it. I only won one of these rival races. So after that, we came back here, and I realised that we actually do have enough money for an upgrade, so we go ahead and buy the quality control for the power unit just to stop all of those from failing, and then head over to practice to try and get as many of these in as possible. Of course, again, going for as many resource points as physically possible, and I'm starting to feel like I may have either changed the settings on this game versus the previous one, but this seems to be a lot easier to finish all of the objectives than it was in the previous games, which is fantastic, of course, but yeah, does make the game a lot easier. I guess at the moment we can do with all the help we can get. So I guess we'll get on with qualifying then. Oh, for those of you wondering, this is what's happening with the R&D at the moment. As you can see, we are now the Haas of this F1 grid. The midfield really bunched up ahead of us, but we are really starting to suffer now, slipping back behind Williams, and I have no doubt that after the British Grand Prix we will be well and truly far behind them, so we've got a lot of catching up to do on that. Anyway, it was over to the track now for attempt number 1 at getting out of Q1 for, I think, the first time this season. Coming down the back straight, you could already see that we're not exactly going very fast, but we managed to place at the back. Half a second down on everyone. Coming down once again for attempt number 2, much faster this time. We've got to try and get past Kevin Magnussen ahead of us, so we cross the line. We go P16 on that attempt, and then on an outlap for the third go, because we kept running out of battery, Charles Leclerc crashed his car. The reason I was doing this is because if I did a flying lap out of the garage, by the time the AI had got the car back round, we had no battery. Apparently I wasn't much better at managing that, because as you can see, we're about to run out as I cross the line, and then we go slightly slower through sector 3, so we don't improve and we cross the line, and it's going to be P21 for the race. Not brilliant. Let's get to it. Well, it's time for Azerbaijan. I really have mixed feelings about how this one's going to go, based on our performances in the previous Grand Prix, which have all featured varying amounts of corners and, of course, incredibly long straights, for the exception being Monaco, of course. Anyway, let's get on to the race in just a second, but for now, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell so you know when the next race has been uploaded. It should be, unless I'm going insane, our home Grand Prix in Great Britain, as we get on to the starting grid. And it's Carlos Sainz taking pole position today ahead of Red Bull's Max Verstappen. They're followed by the 2 Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. Behind them we have Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull, followed by Kevin Magnussen in the lead Haas. Then we have the other Haas of Mick Schumacher. He's alongside Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, and round out the top 10 we have Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso. Moving on from them, we have Esteban Ocon in the other Alpine in P11, followed by Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo. Then we have Sebastian Vettel lining up alongside Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. Behind them, Pierre Gasly and Charles Leclerc are second place in the Drivers' Championship. Starts with P16 with a penalty. Alex Albon and Lance Stroll line up behind them. Leaving on the penultimate row, Theo Pourchaire, Nicholas Latifi, and finally, it's us, and then Daniel Ricciardo. Okay, the lights are coming on. It's a long pause, but away we go, and Carlos Sainz seems to be off to a good start at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, we have dropped to last at the back as we dive down the inside. It's 4 abreast into turn 1, very tight there. Try not to crash into the barrier as we then split into a 3 and a 2. As we come down towards turn 2, we've gone up the inside of Alex Albon there, force him towards the wall. We've seen that go very wrong for Fernando Alonso in the past, actually, crashing into the barrier and causing a safety car. Not on this occasion, though. We managed to get through nice and clean as we ride on board again. We got the inside of Lance Stroll, but Alex Albon tries to come back at us as we come into turn 3. We've managed to defend the move, but that was a very interesting dive bomb going on there from Alex Albon. Once again, the MG UK is literally about to explode, and the energy store is also on its last legs. As up ahead, we watch Yuki Tsunoda get a little out of shape, and we go down the inside of Lance Stroll towards the castle section. A bit of contact there, banging wheels, but we managed to get through relatively unscathed. Come through the castle section, no overtaking going on there, that's for sure. Following the 2 AlphaTauris now, Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly, who appear to have swapped places at some point. And down towards what will soon be basically the final corner. Tsunoda up ahead, still like in our previous races, pulling away from us quite significantly. Hitting the curb that hard would not have helped there. And we got some proximity arrows going on. We got Lance Stroll. He's all over the back of us now as we come down the back straight towards the start-finish line. Carlos Sainz sets the fastest lap, of course he does. And Lance Stroll gets past us before turn 1. Alex Albon going to have another look as well down the outside into turn 1. The Williams very fast in a straight line. But we seem to have bridged some of the performance gap since Miami, when we couldn't catch up with Nicholas Latifi. And, well, we seem to have managed to get that back with no problems whatsoever. So we'll rejoin at the end of lap 2. Feel like I know what's going to happen here. There he is, the proximity arrow. Alex Albon about to have another look. Look at how speed he's got there as he comes flying up towards us. He goes to the inside this time, and we nearly shut him out completely. Try and go through turn 1 and stay as close as possible, because I believe, yes, there is a DRS detection point there, which means we are going to get the DRS on him, and he's not close enough to the back of Stroll to put up a fight here. We're going to have to go for a late move on the brakes down into turn 3. We've managed to do it without locking the wheels somehow, and put the Williams back into P19. But then a massive lock-up for us at this corner, which I'll be honest, I've locked up there about 50 million times whilst doing this race. That's allowed Nicholas Latifi back through. Also, our teammate was having a look there, trying to get some extra positions too. And now we've got pie on our face as we come down towards the castle section. We've got our work cut out for us now. New Jeff just constantly complaining about how much the car's falling apart. I mean, I didn't build the damn thing. The team did. And they haven't really done a good job, because the durability of this thing is absolutely shocking. As we may get a look here at Nicholas Latifi. We're still within a second of Nicholas Latifi. So... And actually, he's just dropped out of range of Alex Albon, so he's going to be an absolute sitting duck here. Whether or not we can actually catch up to Albon. Oh, I hit the wall there. Got away with it. Just missed the entry in the first part of that chicane, if you could even call it that. Didn't do us any favours there. in regards to catching up to Nicholas Latifi. We managed to close up quite nicely in the braking zone as we expected on the Williams. Through turn 2, and DRS is now back open as we come blasting towards the back of Nicholas Latifi. We start to accelerate beyond this speed, go to the outside. Nicholas Latifi weaving all over the place there as we get round, and he's finally put behind us once again. Alex Albon next on the hit list, but he is now 1.5 seconds up the road. We're going to have to really give it some if we're going to catch up to him. To rejoin on lap 6. Big mistake there, bit of oversteer as we come out of the castle section. Daniel Ricciardo has gotten past Nicholas Latifi as well, and we just been given the prompt to extend our stint. But Daniel Ricciardo goes around the outside, he hits us out the way. We bounce over the curb and plant him into the barrier. That was absolutely shocking there as he goes round the outside, trying to fit into a gap which was just closing and closing and closing. And now Daniel Ricciardo has to live with the consequences of doing that. I expect he will be taking a trip to the pit lane as he continues what has been an interesting season of us battling with Williams, and then with Daniel Ricciardo as well, even though Lando Norris is well up there in the top 10 at the moment. Either way, we've managed to get through, and both Latifi and Ricciardo have come into the pit lane. Although it appears that at some stage, no, Nicholas Latifi did not come into the pits. He has stayed out. He is still very much behind us. Otherwise, he'd be back with Daniel Ricciardo. But it looks as though our pace has slowed somewhat now as we've lost the distance slipstream from Alex Albon. And we've just been holding up Nicholas Latifi and our teammate in this gruesome battle for last position that has been raging on across multiple races now. Here he comes, Nicholas Latifi with the DRS this time. We try to cover the inside, he goes through the small gap, and we come down into turn 1. We're going to have to try and get back at him again. Same move that we did before, but he makes a mistake coming off the curb. We use that to our advantage, giving some overtake. We still lift off before the DRS zone so that we can get the DRS, and there we get it as we come down the second part of the DRS straight. Teo Pourchaire actually having a look up the inside of Nicholas Latifi as we come down into the braking zone. We'll see if he gets through in a minute. Oh, but we make contact with something. It's Pourchaire! He's hit us from behind, and he's out of the session. That has brought out the safety car. Nicholas Latifi appears to be sat there looking at the back of his car. Let's go on board there with our perspective of things. Oh, and in the mirror you just see him, he goes for a move on us and just gets sandwiched against the barrier. Let's go on board with him. He actually has a lot of speed there compared to Nicholas Latifi coming out of the corner, and as he comes down towards the braking zone, he thinks about it, then he goes for it, but turns in so early that he just gets, he can't stop without locking up, so he got sandwiched there as we come into the pit lane. Nearly halfway through the race, and my god, this was a horrible race to do. To be totally honest, I did this race on the same day as Monaco and Spain as we exit the pit lane, and massively misjudged that. But yes, Spain and Monaco before this one, of course Monaco being a very crash-heavy circuit, I was very, very tired, exhausted even, by the end of this. I was just wishing it was over. As we rejoin at the safety car restart, Daniel Ricciardo on our right hand side, he's gotten past us as we've come into the pit lane, so he will be stopping again, well, he will be making a stop later on in the race as we go down the inside there of Tsunoda and Stroll, who are still on our outside as we all drag race down towards turn 3. We're going to be at a disadvantage here given that we are the slowest car, but on the brakes we are much braver and we get up the inside of both of them. Up ahead there is Pierre Gasly. We're now back with him again. Another lock up at that corner. I just cannot do that corner without locking up. And Gasly is going to be next on our hit list. Now, had I been in a much faster car, I would have quite happily waited for the DRS and just tried to overtake as many cars as possible through that method. Unfortunately, though, given our position in the field and our lack of straight line speed, taking these overtakes through the corners is the way forward as we rejoin later on the lap. Pierre Gasly retakes the position, and all we can do is hope that Tsunoda doesn't either. He's going to go to the outside. Although Stroll even, he's actually got a hole in his floor, I'm just seeing there, so might actually get the position back. Can we get 15th back from Pierre Gasly though? That is the next question. No DRS just yet, so it's going to be unlikely that we get this. We do need the DRS assistance. It's almost like an assist for us now at this point, having the DRS to get past people. Hopefully our straight line speed will be sorted out in the next few races. We've got France coming up soon. I want it to be done by then because we usually do pretty well at France. We rejoin on lap 15. At some point, Lance Stroll has managed to get past us. Now Yuki Tsunoda has gone past us as well. He goes a little bit deep into turn 1 there, and we might be able to use the DRS to get back past him because he is not in range of Stroll yet. So this will be a good test. Can we get past the AlphaTauri with the DRS again? We're going to go to the outside. It's going to be late on the brakes. We put the squeeze on Tsunoda, and we'll get around the outside of him. Fine and dandy. Somehow don't lock up at that corner again, which was a surprise, to be totally fair. Unfortunately, though, as with all things, it must come to an end. Yuki Tsunoda currently 3 tenths behind, 2 tenths behind, 1 tenth behind. He's going to go to the inside there as we close the door, and he's still able to get past us anyway. This time, though, he's going to carry a bit more speed into turn 1. We're not going to be able to catch him. Oh, I nearly clipped the barrier there. As also, to make matters even worse for us, Nicholas Latifi is behind us, and just within half a second. We've got yellow flags out. Another safety car has come out now for this. We've got a car up ahead. It's Charles Leclerc. He's crashed at the same point that he did in qualifying, and that is going to be another safety car, another chance perhaps for us to make up some position. So here he is, battling away with a Haas there. That might be Mick Schumacher. It's really hard to tell from here, actually. But he gets past, or the Haas surrenders, but does stay on the inside. Charles Leclerc covers him, and then locks up, and then can't get the car turned into the corner. And that is Charles Leclerc's chances of points absolutely out the window, for today at least. As we rejoin at the restart, Yuki Tsunoda on our right-hand side. We go to the inside. We go up the inside of Stroll and Gasly as well. We've made it into P14 now. Up ahead, Zhou Guanyu and Esteban Ocon battle away as Pierre Gasly takes the position back from the outside, but we get late on the brakes there. There's still battles going on ahead. It's slowing everyone down and giving us a massive advantage here as we come down onto the next part of the DRS straight. Behind us, some little battles going on there. We cut away though. So later on in the lap, we're still just behind Zhou Guanyu, but Lance Stroll is within a second and most likely does not have DRS and is still much faster. That is a correct assumption. There he is. Going to the outside is the Aston Martin, and we are not able to get him back on the brakes. Can we get him in the next DRS? So no, we go a little bit wide there with a bit of a slide and bit of oversteer. The tyres by this point in the Grand Prix are absolutely screaming to have mercy, and what to make matters worse, it's Charles Leclerc behind us. He's on the soft tyre and running the fastest car in the game at the moment, as we would have seen from the performance graph earlier on. But now though, he is going to be sat behind us, but it's not going to take very long to get past or overtake us. This is quite possibly the first time we've actually had a proper race with one of the front runners. We did, of course, have a little battle with Sergio Perez in Monaco last time, but that did not end well. And of course, it is Monaco, so technically it wasn't really a race. It was just a very long formation lap. But now, though, we are still in the slipstream of Stroll. The Ferrari not looking like he's making any moves just yet as we come down towards the double left-hander. Through the first one, we go quite wide on the curb there, getting some wheel spin. Charles Leclerc goes to the outside as we come down towards the last 90-degree corner at least. Charles Leclerc trying to get past us, but we've got the squeeze on him. We're alongside the Ferrari as we come through the S at the end. We've managed to clip him into the barrier there, which has just absolutely ruined his pace, and managed to outsmart the Ferrari and outsmash his car to pieces. As unfortunately, Pierre Gasly comes absolutely steaming through round the outside. He's going to try and look to get around this. We hold the inside line quite well there as we come down towards turn 2. Back on board we go. We run it wide to try and stop him, but he has hit us in frustration. But we timed it perfectly. We've managed to get the DRS as we come through this section. On the brakes we go. We've got a nice battle going on behind us as well. There's a car that got very close to hitting us. Looking at the proximity arrows. But it's another lock-up at the same corner. And that's allowed Pierre Gasly to come back through. We're going to have to fight our way through this. We've managed to get back ahead of the AlphaTauri again as we come through into this next chicane. And force him into the curb. It's not a sustainable way of winning this race, that's for sure. But it might just keep Pierre Gasly behind us. Even if it sends them into the pit lane for a few laps. But here we go with what will inevitably be the downfall. Pierre Gasly will have DRS. It would have just opened, and look at how much he's gaining on us. I don't even think we're going to bother looking behind at this point because we just know it's coming. There he is, up the inside. Nice and easy. Had that been a race to the line, I'm pretty sure he would have just won that. But we've managed to stay with the AlphaTauri again. Unfortunately, look at our ERS reserves. It's down to 15%. We hit the back of the AlphaTauri. He's running quite slow now. We're going to use up the last of the battery trying to get past him. 5%, 4%, 3%. We're so low on power now. We've got to hold a tighter line here to stop Gasly. We hit him into the barrier. That may buy us some time. But at this stage of the Grand Prix, it's looking very bleak for us. We can't defend with any ERS at all. We don't even have ERS upgrades unlocked yet. So we can't even buy any. It's definitely something that we want to be looking at, though. And that means, of course, on lap 23 into 24, here comes Pierre Gasly again. Gets past us. Yuki Tsunoda up the inside now. Closes the door on him. Thankfully, but he is going to have another look at the end of this DRS straight. More than likely, they're not close enough to Gasly, and we certainly don't have the power to try and get past him anymore. So we're just going to have to surrender P15 to him. Tsunoda, on the other hand, we might be able to hold off just a little longer. Just 2 laps to go. We got to harvest as much energy as possible, but we've had a lock up again at the same corner. And Tsunoda slips by up the inside, and it's become a battle once again for last place between myself, Nicholas Latifi, and Daniel Ricciardo. We lost Alex Albon and Théo Pourchaire. Charles Leclerc, now at the halfway point of lap 25, has managed to catch up, and he's going to look around the outside, the same place as some other moves have gone horribly well. We've hit him into the back. Daniel Ricciardo comes and crashes into us. How did he not see that coming? Unbelievable from the McLaren driver. He should have gone to Specsavers there. That was just shocking. He didn't even attempt to slow down. Meanwhile, we come trundling through. We've lost an end plate, but with only a lap to go, and the fact that I was absolutely exhausted at this point, we gave up on any other racing. It turns out that Leclerc has come into the pits, as did Daniel Ricciardo and Nicholas Latifi, for crashing into us, which gave us the gap we needed. We come down, we're going to get a P17 finish, our best since the season opener. And we've had a massive accident on the pit straight as well, just to celebrate finally getting through this race and finally not finishing below P20. Driver of the day goes to us as well. Thankfully, we can finally say that we've had that achievement. But it's a 5th win in a row for Ferrari. There's no Alfa Romeo mounting the back of Carlos Sainz's car this time, as he gets a back-to-back win now. Monaco and Azerbaijan. He can quite happily crown himself king of the streets, at least in 2 countries anyway, and he will celebrate that win. No points, of course, for Charles Leclerc, but I don't think they really need it to Ferrari at this point, with several poor performances from Red Bull. Mercedes have been very consistent though, so they may have to watch out for them if reliability becomes a factor later on in the season. And look, Max Verstappen retakes the podium position as well, as does Lewis Hamilton, who bested his teammate once again. Of course, George Russell initially performed quite well compared to the 7-time world champion in this universe, and we get to see yet again the same podium animation, just from behind, as they spray the cars and presumably do millions of pounds of damage. Well, here we are with the race results. We know, of course, Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton took the podium, but it was Kevin Magnussen, George Russell, Sergio Perez, Mick Schumacher, Valtteri Bottas, Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso, who followed them, scoring points. Over in the Drivers' Championship, Carlos Sainz takes a commanding lead now over his teammate Charles Leclerc by 33 points. Then just 1 point behind his teammate is George Russell on 34. Then it's a jump back to Max Verstappen, who overtakes Lewis Hamilton for P4. And then Sergio Perez is the last of the top running teams. Then we have Fernando Alonso, Kevin Magnussen, Esteban Ocon and Valtteri Bottas rounding out the top 10. Further down the order we have Lando Norris, then Mick Schumacher, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda and Sebastian Vettel round out the point scorers, with Zhou Guanyu, Alexander Albon, Lance Stroll, ourselves, Théo Pourchaire and Nicholas Latifi yet to score. And over in the Constructors' Championship, as we alluded to earlier, Mercedes 45 points behind leaders Ferrari, then it's a big jump back to Red Bull in 3rd. Alpine control the battle for 4th at the moment, but Haas have jumped up the order to 5th ahead of Alfa Romeo and McLaren. Then further down the order we have AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, Williams and Slothz. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.